Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are doing something a little bit different. Usually, we tackle a specific concept or a piece of hard news, but today, we're looking at a saga.
A literal saga.
Yeah, and I use that word carefully. We're looking at a story that spans 40 years and moves from the absolute mud of the Pacific Theater to the heights of Hollywood glamour, and then it crashes down into something very real and very painful.
It really is a massive story. We're unpacking the first act of the source material today, which is Family Album. And what strikes me about this material isn't just the plot, which, is admittedly very traumatic, but the sociology of it.
Right.
It's essentially a case study in the American dream, but also kind of the American nightmare. It asks a really fundamental question for you to think about. Can you build a life on a foundation of avoidance?
That is the question. And we are going to be looking at the Thayer dynasty today. That's Faye Price Thayer and Ward Thayer. And to really understand the weight of this story, the source material does something interesting. It doesn't start at the beginning.
No, it doesn't.
It starts at the end, or at least the end of the first major chapter.
Right. We are starting in 1983.
So let's set the scene here for you, because the text is incredibly specific about the sensory details. It is a funeral. It's Los Angeles. And the weather is, it's aggressive.
Aggressive is the perfect word for it. It is not a somber gray day at all. It is brilliant, blindingly sunny. The source actually describes the sun as a white heat. And you have the smell of gardenias and lily of the valley, which is cloying, almost suffocating.
Yeah.
And the birds are chirping.
It's that literary device of the pathetic fallacy, but in reverse, right?
Exactly, yeah.
The world absolutely refuses to mourn. The world is beautiful while your life is basically ending. And standing in the middle of this blinding light is Ward Thayer.
Let's focus on Ward for a moment here. He's the patriarch.
Yeah.
But the description of him here is disturbing. He's standing by the grave of his wife, Faye, and he's described as having his eyes squeezed shut.
Not just closed, squeezed.
Squeezed, exactly. He is physically trying to block out the sun. He's trying to block out the reality of the literal hole in the ground in front of him. The text says he feels zombie-like.
Yeah.
He's in a state of shock so profound that he can't even conjure up her face. He tries to remember the color of her eyes, and he just draws a blank.
That is terrifying. To be standing at your wife's funeral and realize you can't picture her because your brain has it's short-circuited.
It's a trauma response.
Yeah.
It is complete dissociation.
Yeah.
But then the cameras flash, because this is a celebrity funeral. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
And he opens his eyes, and he sees his children.
The cast of characters,
Yeah.
legacy. And this is where we get our first real look at the family dynamic. It is not just a group of sad people. It's a tableau of personality types.
It really is. You have the 5 children. Let's break them down because their appearance at the grave tells us everything about who they are. First, you have Vanessa. She's described as the quiet one.
Right.
She's sedate blonde. Her hair is in a tight knot. She's essentially fading into the background.
And standing right next to her is her twin, Valerie. And she is doing the exact opposite.
Valerie's fascinating. She's wearing black silk. It's clinging to her. She has this flaming red hair. Even at her mother's funeral, she is the star. She's demanding attention.
The contrast between the twins right there.
Oh, yeah, the sedate dreamer and the fiery narcissist. It's established right there at the graveside.
Then you have the boys. Lionel, the eldest, who looks serious and elegant. Gregory, the athlete. The happy-go-lucky one who takes after his dad. And finally, Anne, the baby.
Who's 30 years old at this point, but she's still the baby. She's frail, she's tiny, she's holding Ward's hand. And as Ward looks at them, he sees Faye in all of them. But he also sees the cracks. These aren't just children. They are survivors of a very specific family history.
And that is the mission today. To understand why Ward is standing there like a zombie and to understand why the family is fractured in this specific way, we have to rewind. We have to go back 40 years.
We're leaving the blinding sun of 1983 and dropping right into the humidity of 1943.
Guadalcanal.
The canal.
Okay, let's talk about the atmosphere here. Because if you don't understand the setting, you really don't understand the romance.
This isn't a meet cute in a coffee shop. This is the Pacific Theater in World War II.
It is hell on earth. The source describes the heat as a physical weight. It's sticky. It's oppressive. You have malaria. You have dysentery. You have the constant threat of sniper fire. The psychological toll on these men was immense. They were rotting in the jungle.
And into this rotting jungle comes, a vision, Faye Price.
Faye Price.
Yeah.
23 years old. Oscar winner. The biggest star in Hollywood.
We really need to contextualize what a movie star meant in 1943. For those of you listening, this is pre-internet, it's pre-social media. Stars weren't just people, they were deities. They were the only connection to glamour these men had.
She represents woman with a capital W. Mothers, sisters, girlfriends. She is the avatar for everything they left back in the States. So when word gets out that Faye Price is coming to Guadalcanal, the energy shift is seismic.
But not everyone is impressed. Enter Lieutenant Ward Thayer, the cynic.
He's sitting there, and his attitude is basically, what is this show pony doing here?
It's a defense mechanism, though.
Mm.
Ward has been in the thick of it. He's seen his friends die. He's seen the brutality of Midway and the Coral Sea. The idea of a Hollywood starlet coming in to sing a few songs feels insulting to him. It feels trivial.
But then the show starts, and Faye surprises him.
She does.
What?
She walks out onto this makeshift stage, and the description of her dress is so important. She is wearing silver lame.
In the jungle.
In the jungle. It's ridiculous, but it's also perfect. She didn't dress down. She didn't wear fatigues to try and relate to them.
Mhm.
She gave them the fantasy. She looked like a goddess dipped in chrome. And she sings.
The text says her voice ranges from molten lava to melted gold, which, wow. But the key point is that she's sweating, she's working, she's not phoning it in.
She pours her soul into it. And Ward, watching from the back, feels that cynicism cracked just a little bit. But the real connection happens after the show.
Usually the star does the show, waves, and goes to have a steak dinner with the general.
Right, the officers' club routine. Faye skips it. She tells the commanding officer no thanks. She wants to see the base. She wants to meet the guys on guard duty who couldn't come to the show.
That is a boss move. It shows she's not just a star, she's a person. She grew up poor in Pennsylvania. Right?
Exactly. She has that grit. She knows what work is, so she demands a tour. And if fate would have it, her guide is the brooding, handsome, skeptical Lieutenant Ward Thayer.
And this leads to the mess hall date. I love this scene because visually it's just fantastic. You have this woman in a priceless silver gown sitting on a rough wooden bench in a Quonset hut.
Eating army stew.
And Ward breaks the ice with a joke. He says, just like 21, eh?
For our younger listeners, the 21 Club in New York was the place to be. It was where the elite dined. So Ward is making a very specific class-based joke. He's acknowledging the absurdity of the situation.
It's also signaling something, isn't he? He's signaling that he knows what the 21 Club is. He's not just a grunt.
Sharp catch, yes. He is signaling his background.
Ah.
But the conversation quickly goes past the superficial. They're drinking iced tea, which the source notes was a luxury that Ward had to scrounge for, and Faye pushes him.
She calls him out. She asks him why he's so hard, why he acts like he doesn't care if he lives or dies.
And in a normal world, you wouldn't tell a stranger your deepest trauma 5 minutes after meeting them. But this is wartime. The social barriers are gone. Time is compressed. So Ward tells her the truth.
He tells her about Kathy.
His first wife, an army nurse. They had been married for 2 months. She was killed by a bomb while she was on duty.
That explains the death wish vibe he has.
Completely. He tells Faye, I feel dead inside. He's carrying this immense survivor's guilt. He feels that because Kathy died doing her job, he has no right to enjoy being alive.
And Faye's reaction is what seals the deal. She doesn't offer him a platitude. She doesn't say, oh, time heals all wounds. She just listens. She holds his hand. They cry together in that mess hall.
It's a trauma bond. It is incredibly potent. In that moment, they aren't a movie star and a soldier. They are just two terrified young people trying to find a moment of humanity in a slaughterhouse.
And when they part ways, Ward kisses her hand. It's very old school romantic. He says, I won't forget you, Faye Price. And he promises to find her if he makes it back.
That if hangs in the air. Because in 1943, the odds were not great.
But as we know, he makes it. Segment 2. The Return. It's 1945. The war ends.
The scene shifts to Hollywood. And again, the contrast. We go from the mud of the Pacific to the soundstage. Faye is filming a movie when the news breaks. The war is over. Everyone is cheering, crying.
And Faye is at the absolute peak of her power. She's wealthy. She drives a Lincoln Continental. She has a mansion in Beverly Hills. But this source makes a point of highlighting her isolation.
She is the princess in the tower. Her parents died during the war year. She has no siblings. She goes home to this massive empty house. Success without someone to share it with can be incredibly lonely.
And then he shows up. Ward Thayer bribes his way onto the set.
And he is not the man she met in the jungle.
No. The transformation is drastic. He's clean-shaven. He's wearing a tailored suit. He looks like a movie star himself.
This is where we learn who Ward Thayer really is. He's not just a soldier. He is the heir to the Thayer shipyard fortune. He is San Francisco royalty.
Hedda Hopper, the famous gossip columnist, is already writing about him. She calls him the Playboy heir.
And the courtship is fast. It's frantic. Dinner at Ciro's, dancing at the Mocambo. champagne flowing like water.
Ward is driving a borrowed car because his own cars are up on blocks, which is a little foreshadowing of his financial management style. But he walks into these clubs like he owns them.
He has that old money confidence.
Yeah.
Head waiters bow to him. Rita Hayworth runs up to hug him. Faye is swept off her feet. She's finally found someone who fits into her world, who isn't intimidated by her fame.
And there is always, but in the middle of this whirlwind romance, they have a conversation that dictates the next 30 years of their lives. We need to stop and really analyze this, the road B conversation.
This is the crux of the character study. Ward sits her down and explains his philosophy on life. He tells her flat out, I am never going to work.
In 1945, the era of the man in the gray flannel suit, the era of industry. And this guy says, nope, not for me.
He explains why. He watched his grandfather and his father build a family fortune, and he watched them both drop dead of heart attacks in their 40s and 50s. They were stressed, they were absent, and then they died.
So Ward sees work as a death sentence.
Exactly. He frames it as a binary choice. Road A is work hard, get rich, die young. Road B is enjoy the money, be a good husband, be a present father, live a long life.
It sounds logical if you ignore the financial reality of it.
It sounds seductive,
Yeah.
especially to a man who just survived a war. He's thinking, I survived Guadalcanal, I'm not going to die of a heart attack at a desk.
But here's the problem. He wants the lifestyle of Road A with the leisure of Road B.
He wants to spend the money without replenishing it.
Precisely. It's not a philosophy. It's a trauma response masquerading as wisdom. He is terrified of responsibility because he equates responsibility with death. And Faye, she's a workhorse. She's worked since she was a kid. Why does she agree to this?
Because of the proposal. Let's talk about the bathtub.
A bathtub proposal. It's iconic.
He proposes to her while they are in the bath. It's intimate, it's vulnerable. But listen to the words he uses. He doesn't just say, marry me. He says, I want to take care of you. I want you to be safe.
Safe. That word is kryptonite for Faye.
She's been fighting the world on her own. The idea of safety, of laying down her burden of being protected by this wealthy, charming man, it's irresistible. So she agrees. She agrees to retire.
She gives it all up. The biggest star in the world retires at 25 to be a wife.
And thus begins the era of the gilded cage.
Gilded is an understatement. The spending, honestly, reading the list of things they bought gave me anxiety.
It is compulsive. It's manic. Ward buys her a fleet of cars, Duesenberg's Bentleys. He buys her furs white fox sable ermine. He buys jewels that are described as grape-sized.
And the house. They buy a massive estate that looks like a French chateau.
But the piece de resistance is the carousel.
The carousel.
Ward has a full-sized professional carousel installed on the grounds of the estate.
Let's just pause on that. A carousel in the backyard. It's whimsical, sure. But it's also strange.
It's deeply symbolic. Think about what a carousel does. It's bright, it's loud, it plays happy music, and it goes in circles. It never goes anywhere. It creates the illusion of motion without progress. That is Ward Thayer's life. He is riding a painted pony going in circles while the engine burns fuel that he can't replace.
And Faye lets him do it. The source says she feels guilty about the spending, but she doesn't stop him.
She enables him because she sees that buying things makes him happy, it quiets his demons. And honestly, she enjoys the fairy tale. She's playing the role of the chatelaine. She wears the emeralds, she hosts the parties. She falls into the trap of believing that because they are rich, the money is infinite.
Meanwhile, they're filling the house with children.
The dynasty expands. Lionel's born first. He's the serious one. He seems to absorb the tension in the house. Then Gregory the golden boy. Then the twins, Vanessa and Valerie.
And all the while, the background noise is getting darker. Ward's drinking is ramping up.
It starts with champagne. Champagne Ward. It seems festive. But over the years, the champagne turns into scotch. The festive drinking turns into medicinal drinking. He's self-medicating.
And politically, things are getting ugly, too. The Hollywood blacklist is hitting in the late 40s and 50s.
This is an important context, the Red Scare. Now, we're not taking sides on the politics of that era, but purely reporting what the source material presents. Faye knew people she worked with are being subpoenaed. Lives are being ruined across the industry.
And Faye looks at that chaos and thinks, thank God I'm out. Thank God I'm safe in my castle.
She thinks the walls of the estate can protect her, but the threat is inside the house.
The threat is in the mailbox. Or rather, the mail that Ward is hiding.
His lawyers, Gentry and Burford, are trying to warn him. They are calling. They are driving out to the estate. And Ward is literally hiding from them.
He's like a child playing hide and seek. He refuses to go to the shipyard. He refuses to look at a balance sheet. He just keeps signing checks. He operates on magical thinking. If I don't look at the problem doesn't exist.
Until 1952. The crash.
Faye is pregnant with their 5th child, Anne, and the lawyers finally realize they can't get through to Ward, so they corner Faye.
Imagine that moment for her. You're pregnant, you're living in a palace, and 2 men in suits sit you down and tell you the party is over.
They tell her the Thayer shipyard, which was the source of all the money, has been running in the red for years because of mismanagement and the post-war slump in manufacturing. Ward has drained the capital.
And what's the number?
They are $3.5 million in debt.
Let's contextualize that for you.
Right.
$3.5 million in 1952. Adjusted for inflation, that's roughly $40 million today. But even that doesn't capture it. In 1952, $3.5 million was an empire. It's an unimaginable amount of debt for a personal estate.
How do you even spend that much?
You buy Duesenbergs, you buy arm rolls, you install carousels, and you ignore the fact that the shipyard isn't building ships anymore. It's a complete collapse.
And the betrayal isn't just the money, it's the silence.
Ward knew. He knew for at least 2 years that they were sinking. And instead of tightening the belt, he spent more.
Why? That seems insane.
It's fear. He was terrified that if the fairy tale stopped, Faye would wake up and leave him. He thought she loved the lifestyle, not him. So he kept the carousel spinning to keep her mesmerized.
So Faye confronts him. She goes to him huge, with pregnancy-terrifying news in hand. She needs him to be a man. She needs him to be the partner he promised to be.
And this is the most painful moment in the book. Ward Thayer disintegrates. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't come up with a plan. He cries. He curls up. He regresses into a frightened little boy.
And he says something unforgivable. He says, "You're the one who made us face it."
That line chills me to the bone. You made us face it. He blames her for the reality check. In his mind, if she hadn't looked at the books, they could have gone on forever. It's the ultimate gaslighting of himself.
So Faye realizes the truth. She isn't married to a protector. She's married to a dependent.
The roles reverse instantly.
Yeah.
Faye, the girl from the wrong side of the tracks,
Yeah.
the one who knows how to survive, takes the wheel. She becomes the general.
She realizes there is no way out but through, so she orders the fire sale.
Segment 5, The Fall. And it is brutal.
They have to sell everything.
Everything. Christie's, the auction house, comes in. The description is haunting. They put red tags on everything, the furniture, the paintings, the silver. The house is stripped bare.
Imagine the humiliation. This is a woman who was the queen of Hollywood. Now strangers are walking through her house, touching her things, haggling over her life.
There's a specific scene where they sell the house itself. A young, arrogant actor buys it. He walks around treating Faye like she's the help. He ignores her. It's the ultimate status stripping. She's being erased from her own world.
And where is Ward while this is happening? Is he helping?
No. Ward locks himself in the study with a bottle of gin. The source says he sits there staring at photographs of his parents, and he contemplates suicide.
He thinks about taking Road A, after all.
He thinks about ending it. He feels the shame is too much to bear. And this is where Faye shows her true strength. She finds him. She sees the darkness in his eyes. And she saves him.
Oh.
She tells him, "We won't starve. I know how to survive." She reframes the narrative. She tells him that they are the asset, not the house. She pulls him back from the ledge. But let's be clear, the dynamic is broken. She isn't looking up to him anymore. She's looking after him.
And then comes the departure. Moving day.
They have sold the Duesenbergs. They've sold the Bentleys. They have one car left, an old Chrysler station wagon.
It's such a humble image.
They pack the 5 kids, the dog, and a few suitcases into the station wagon. The house is empty. The carousel is silent. And they drive away.
Where do they go?
They head to a temporary rental in Palm Springs, while Faye looks for a small house in a cheaper neighborhood, Monterey Park. They're moving from aristocracy to the working class in a single afternoon.
There's a detail in the text about the baby nurse, Mrs. McQueen. I want to touch on that because it says so much about perception.
Mrs. McQueen. She's this sour, judgmental woman. She sees Faye rushing around, organizing the move, handling the money. And she sees that Faye isn't holding the new baby, Anne.
And she judges her.
She thinks Faye is a cold, heartless socialite. Look at her. She doesn't even hold her own child.
But the reality is...
The reality is Faye is frantically sorting through her last pieces of jewelry to sell them just to pay Mrs. McQueen's salary. Faye is sacrificing her moment of bonding with her baby to ensure the baby has a roof over her head. It's the hidden labor of survival. Faye is doing the dirty work while being judged for not being maternal enough.
God, that is frustrating, but it's also heroic.
It is. And that's where the source material leaves us for this deep dive. The Thayer family packed into a station wagon, driving away from the fairy tale, heading into the unknown.
It's a stunning arc. We started in the jungle, went to the palace, and ended in a station wagon. And now bringing it back to where we started the funeral in 1983, it all makes sense.
It does. When we saw Ward standing at that grave, eyes squeezed shut, we now know what he's remembering. He's remembering the silver dress. He's remembering the carousel. He's remembering the moment he told her, "You'll be safe," and the moment he broke that promise.
He's mourning not just his wife, but the woman who carried him, the woman who saved him from himself.
Exactly.
So let's zoom out. We've unpacked the plot, but what is the deep dive takeaway here? What does the Thayer saga tell us about the human condition?
I think there are two massive takeaways for you to consider. The first is about the illusion of safety. Faye Price spent her youth looking for safety. She thought she could find it in a man, in a marriage, in a bank account. She quit her own power to find safety in someone else's.
And the lesson is you can't.
You can't outsource your survival. No matter how much someone loves you, you cannot build your foundation on their stability. In the end, Faye had to save herself anyway. She took the long road back to where she started being a survivor.
And the second takeaway?
It's about the road A versus road B philosophy. Ward thought he was hacking the system. He thought he could cheat death by refusing to work.
But he just traded one kind of death for another.
He traded death by stress for death by atrophy. He let his soul atrophy. He let his self-respect atrophy. He became a ghost in his own life long before he died. It's a warning that a life without purpose, even if it's a life of leisure, is a dangerous thing.
That is a heavy thought to chew on, and I have one final provocation for our listeners.
So for it.
We've been hard on Ward today. It's easy to see him as the villain, the lazy heir who squandered a fortune. But as they drive away in that station wagon, ask yourself this. Was Ward a bad man, or was he a man who was simply never allowed to grow up?
That's the nuance.
And the bigger question, can a marriage survive when the prince turns out to be powerless? Can love survive the loss of respect?
Well, looking at that funeral in 1983, they stayed together. They stood by that grave. So the answer is yes, but the cost. The cost was everything they had.
A fascinating, tragic, beautiful mess. That is the story of Family Album. Thank you so much for guiding us through it.
It was a pleasure.
And thank you to our listeners. We will see you on the next deep dive.